is all. All right.
So, what's everybody been doing? These last 15 years since we did this last. Every 15 years we'll do this. Yeah, it's been 15 years since we did one of these things.
All right, now you know what this is called? A Q&A. All right, so I'll lead you by the hand through this. Somebody has to go like that. And then we go, oh, you, and they ask a question. Smart questions are not important. They can be dumb, they can be any kind of question for him, any kind of question. It's a little hard to see you, so if you stick your hand up, give us a little like this, okay? Nobody's doing it.
Oh, there's
everyone way back there, okay.
I think they have a line. They're all in line ready to go.
Are they?
Yeah, so stop screwing around. They got it all worked out. Whoever's ready to go, go. Go.
My name is Duckman, and I represent a group called the Scott Bakula. We've been throwing parties in your honor for the past 8 years at the Northwestern in Seattle.
I got no invitations. Not one invitation.
We tried to find your address, but it's not listed or something. Probably a good thing. So I have 2 questions for you. One is whether you'd heard of us, and the other is whether you would accept a Lifetime Divine Achievement Award in honor of all the goodness you've given to our conventions up there over the past 8 years.
Absolutely. This is good. We don't have to do anything. We just get to, you just watch. Which is always good.
Listen.
What?
And listen.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
And it refers to me as Lord, which is what he always likes to be called. But now it says it, so I don't have to call you Lord Stockwell anymore. Thank you, I accept. You just need a catchphrase on a TV show, that's all you need. He had none. Okay, who's next? Thank you. Where's the next question? Okay.
Hard to answer.
Is there only one microphone or are there 2, I thought? 2, where's the other line? No line? Okay. Don't be bashful,
No
go.
line, no questions.
Hello, I was just wondering, since you had to, Scott, since you had to go into so many different personas, well, actually acting as a character who's acting as a persona each time in each episode, which one was the hardest?
Chimpanzee was not easy. Don't say anything.
You made it look easy.
And certainly, I was never really fond of the bathing suit competition in Miss Deep South. That was not easy. But the first time in heels was not fun either, I have to say. But the chimpanzee was probably the most challenging. Thank you, though. But the little chimp that I worked with, she was the doll. She was a beauty. Okay, now this over here. You're helping me so much.
I'm thinking about the little chimp.
Hello.
You stay in touch?
The more things change, the more they stay the same. Hello.
Hi, my name is Jessie. Of course, I love you guys, but I know you get this all the time. I really want to hear your favorite episode, both of you. I know she just asked which one was the hardest, but your absolute favorite.
The want to go first?
I liked them all. I would say the pilot because it was a beginning.
You were great in the pilot too. I like probably The Leap Home. It was a two-parter, and I got to do a lot of stuff. And he got the Vietnam episode is one of my favorites. That moment at the end of that episode, I don't think that moment that he captured on film there was. That's why we have film, because it's you've got that forever. I especially love those two. That's kind of a cheat because it's a two-parter, but I love it. You remember that? Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Actually, this is not quantumly related. I want to know from Dean what it was like playing the boy with green hair.
I don't know how many people in this group are familiar with that film because it was and it goes way back. It was 1948, and I was like 12. But the deal of it was that it was an anti-war film. It was a kind of a surreal statement against war, that there shouldn't wars create war orphans. I was a war orphan in the film. And his hair turns green in order to be a symbol that that's the way it goes. And people around him wouldn't accept it, and they made him shave his hair off in the end. And I was able to appreciate what this thing was about, even though I was only 12, because I, lived through the war on the newsreels every week. We'd see all the stories of this war. It went on for years. Finally, it was over, and here comes this movie, and the movie says shouldn't be any more war, so I took it quite seriously. I'm proud of it.
Can I tell them what you used to tell me about that movie?
What?
How much you hated getting your hair colored because it made your scalp bleed?
Well, I didn't get my hair colored.
I mean, not colored, but...
No, what happened, I had paid big dues. They got the wigs from women in they told me, France. I've always had a problem with that. And the one that I wore, the person that they got the hair from had a disease.
No.
And it transferred to my scalp, and I had it for a year. It's called impetigo, like ringworm. Bleeding sores. And then I also had bleeding around the edges where they would put the glue netting. So it was a rough one. Yeah. I don't color my hair anymore. All right, somebody else, another one?
Howdy. Get a quick question for both of y'all. Both of you have done, I think, voiceover acting and stuff for like animation and stuff. Between doing that and the regular acting, which do you think is more difficult?
I've never done any. I've never known. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I did one. Played Duke Nukem.
Cut the fucking flash.
Remember that? It's an environmental series or something. I quite enjoyed it.
Give us a little Duke, because you used to come on the set and do it. Yes, you.
No,
come on.
Get out of that.
Come on, give us a little.
I don't even remember it.
All right. Yeah. I didn't. The animation stuff that I've done, it's fun to do. I wouldn't. It's more fun to work with people, to be quite honest. And you kind of sit in the booth and you read a line 20 different ways, and you go on to the next line, and then somebody else picks. They draw it, and then they pick what the line is, and hopefully they make some stuff that's funny and fun to do. But it's much more fun doing it with people. But I like what I've done. When you get a mic, will you guys wave so we can see it? Because it is hard for us to see.
We can't tell where you are.
Thank you. We got you back there. Go.
Someone's waving way in the back. Yeah.
Hi, my question is about Chuck, actually. I want to know if there's any chance she's Chuck's dad again.
Well, I think if you watch that show, and apparently there are a lot of people in here that do, you know that quite often people die and somehow come back. So, in fact, I've already come back in the last episode, so after I'm dead. So I would say that I don't know. They approached me about doing anything. I know that Linda Hamilton's going to be on this year, which is very exciting for them. I'm thrilled that they got another season, and you guys have been great, loyal fans for them, as you have been for another show years ago. And I appreciate your support for that show. And we'll see. You never know.
Well, of course, but he had to be in every damn scene, and while he's doing the scene, he's going to an adjacent stage to learn to be a trapeze artist for the next show. And it was just really, really difficult, and I respected him, and I still do respect him a lot for it.
Thank you. It wasn't made easier by the fact that literally sometimes, we'd call him and say, we're ready to start shooting. He'd say, I'm on the 15th hole. Can I please just finish the last 3 holes?
Yeah, I've got a tough putt here, man.
It's not a joke, it's true.
Hi, in the back. I just wanted to say to Scott, quick aside, I thought Enterprise was fantastic, and I miss it. I don't know if anyone here will disagree, but your captain was by far my favorite.
Thank you.
With Quantum Leap, the way the show ended, what feelings did the finale and the, I guess, uncertainty of how it ended and the open-endedness of it, how did that resonate with you guys? And before you go, you got to give us an oh boy.
You want to go start on that? You want me to start? Oh boy. He's not bad. He should work. You got to say oh boy in one episode, didn't you?
I think
When we flipped?
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
I think I run into a cannon.
No, I went through the cannon. You were.
When I bumped it, I said,
Yeah, you ran into it. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, the show really was very personal to Mr. Belisario, and it was his personal choice of how to wrap it up, end it up, and we didn't really participate in that. We just went along with what Don was after. We were not even sure what it was. We had God in there in the end. The bartender was representing God and so on. So you'll have to talk to Don. Really.
But it was, it's so emotional. We worked so hard on that show, and everybody works hard on their TV shows, in our television especially. But making basically these little period movies every 8 to 10 days, and running like mad for 22 episodes, it was really amazing work, and everybody had to, invest in it, and that meant everybody on the crew. So we were all very close. This guy and I were very close, and it was very emotional when you end the show. And we weren't sure we were ending, so we weren't. It wasn't like everyone was going around saying goodbye, but we kind of all had an idea that we might be ending. And I still say it's one of the greatest writing tricks to write a final episode that you don't know is a final episode, that leaves the show open to come back the next season, leaves it open for the possibility of a movie, leaves it open for the possibility of, remember in the day, movies of the week when there were those, and leaves it open to be the final episode. And like it or not, that episode kind of achieved that in its bizarre way, and it was emotional and meaningful, and ultimately, when you look back on it, it's more sad because it was the last one.
Hi, over here.
Hello.
I have a question which you've partially already addressed, and then a quick request. The question is for the series Battlestar Galactica, Quantum Leap, and Enterprise, and like I said, some of this you've already addressed. How did you feel about the character arc and how it ended up? And then the quick request is, could you guys look at each other and say, oh boy, as if you have no idea how you guys got here?
better than this character here for 97 hours, and we sort of intuitively harmonized and knew what the kind of level that the show was supposed to be in, that it had lightness and seriousness and depth and everything, and we were left a great deal of freedom, thank goodness, by Don Belisario, to create as we went, and we improvised a lot of stuff. There's no way to know when you're going to see these things, what was written and what wasn't, but we did a lot of improvising and faking around things and making it better because our working relationship was on such a fine tune.
But, and just I want to add to that. I learned a lot from this guy, and a mentor doesn't even begin to come close to describe it. He shared with me not only a way of working and a way of being on a set, his love of the business, his unbridled joy when he would enter the soundstage every day and scream from the back of the soundstage, "The fun starts now!" But he taught me a lot about life and how to be on this planet and respect this journey, and that means as much or more than the time that we spent on the set together doing the work, because he is, as you all know, is a very special human being, and I'm lucky to know him. He loves it when you get sentimental. It's like, easy, wrap it up, let's go. Okay.
Back here's in the back.
Yeah.
I have two questions for you. One of them was kind of touched upon. A friend and I followed the Quantum Leap back when we were in the junior high, high school, watched it. I mean, it was near a religious experience for us. Not that I'm a fanboy or anything like that. But did the both of you, just from the beginnings and whatnot with how the show ended, did you guys expect Sam to go home? Or were you expecting him just to keep fighting the good fight and putting right what once went wrong?
Well, that's the question that we had with what Don wrote at the end. It was difficult to really know what the next step would be if there was one. And that's why Scott mentioned this. It's a brilliantly written thing because it was complete, but it seemed like it was always implying something else was going to happen.
And the second question I had for you, Mr. Stockwell, just from the get-go, the lines for Admiral Al Calavici, was that you just ad-libbing from the beginning, or did they write your lines for you, or did they just give you a carte blanche?
My dialogue?
Yes, the mannerisms, your delivery and whatnot with that.
Well, no, the lines were written in the script. Each show, we have a script and our lines would be written. I didn't hesitate to change them. I thought I could make it better, and I usually could, But I'll tell you why. Don, in writing it, my character was really open. It could have gone in any kind of direction. But he just allowed me to take it in the direction I thought it should go. And he never held me back a bit. Just let me do what I wanted to. Like I had this hand link from the beginning, and then I think in the second season he changed it completely, made it much more colorful and everything. And I started, slapping and hitting and everything. And he loved that. And so he started putting in little sound effects when I'd hit it. He'd go, "Ooh!" like that. And pretty much all through, I had a free rein. That doesn't mean I wrote all the lines, no, because the writers were very good. The writers were very good, and we picked up what we were doing, and that was very consistent. But like I say, if I thought I could find something a little funnier or more colorful, I would do it. And we worked that way together. He never knew what I was going to do. I never knew what he was going to do, but it always worked. It's very cool. Yeah.
Hello, thank you for coming. I was wondering how much input you guys had into, the different parts that you got to play. Did you ever come up with any ideas that you asked them to put in, or was it all written for you? And as such, was there anything that was a real surprise episode that you would have never expected to have to play?
Well, you know, Don had this philosophy, and I don't disagree with the philosophy. It didn't make it terribly easy on Dean or myself, but his philosophy basically was and has been, hand the script out at the last possible second, because that way nobody has time to criticize it. And he would say that. He would say, well, I'm not going to, I got the scripts, but I'm not sending them over to the network, because then they'll give me notes on the script. And I don't want them to give me notes on the script. Which left Dean and I in the lurch at times, but at the same time, I respect that a lot, having had some producing experience of my own. But I think Dean probably had more influence on the scripts ever than I did, and he would say things like, for instance, in, oh gosh, I should know the name of the episode, but when we were on the Queen Mary, Seabright, thank you. See? Thank you, ladies. There was a whole thing about dumping garbage. I was in the garbage scow at the end, and they were going to dump the garbage, and Dean was obsessed with, you know, we can't just let this moment go by and not talk about all the ships that have been dumping garbage in the oceans for all the years that there have been ships in the oceans. So he would either go to Don, I don't know how, sometimes he would just do it himself, and that's when those things got written on their own. Or sometimes he would say, come on, Don, we need a thing about, you know, conservation, or this, or that, or, and in that particular case, you remember that? And he ended up, he got a kind of a little paragraph of like saying, you know, really zinging it to that industry. So,
or polluters in general.
Yeah, yeah, we got a lot of that, a lot of that in there. But we didn't, you know, I would kind of crack a script open the night before we started it, and it was an interesting change of, I just couldn't really get into one body until I left the other body, if that makes sense. So I had to kind of wait, which was a challenge.
I know, it must have been really quite a challenge. I always knew, you know, I was Al, that was it. But he never knew what he was going to be the next morning. I mean, God, talk about a challenge.
It was fun.
I mean, I would have loved to have been able to watch his face when he first opened the script where he's going to be a woman. God.
It was fun. It was the greatest part ever. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
On your right.
Yeah.
Two quick questions. One is, do you guys stay in contact? And the second is, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're a musician, right? And do you keep up with that? And do you continue to play guitar? Because I know you played a guitar on one of the episodes.
Yeah. Yes, we keep in touch. I was a fake guitar player, just to set the record straight. So I'm a piano player and a singer, predominantly. I can play the guitar a little bit. He's also an excellent musician and gave me grief. Well, you sure gave me grief about all my music stuff all the time. Constantly. You gonna sing it like that? But yeah, I keep up with music all the time, I try and get out and sing as much as I can, and I wish I had more time to play the piano, but can't do everything. Over there.
Hello, over here.
Hello.
First, I would love to say thank you. This was a TV show that I grew up watching with my father, and it was a real bonding time for us both, and it was absolutely wonderful. I do have a question, however, for Mr. Stockwell, because being a child of the 80s as I am, I loved Al's outfits. In fact, my young nephew came to my bat mitzvah, and I showed him off to everyone because he was dressed like Al. And I want to know, did you get to keep any of those, or were you inclined to, or did you really wish they were burned?
It comes down to the latter. Even though I like them a lot, I love to steal wardrobe. and most everything I have in my closet is from one show or another. It's stolen. But I didn't take anything. Now, in retrospect, I wish I'd taken that one silver jacket. That was really short. But the rest of it was so outlandish I would never be able to wear it anymore. And that whole deal was Don Belisary's idea, and he hired, I believe it was Dorliac.
Jean-Pierre Dorliac.
Jean-Pierre Dorliac, just to do Al's costumes, one character's costumes, which is very unusual. And you all know the result.
Well, it was wonderful, and my father dressed to emulate him.
And you still watched with him. I'm amazed. Was he dressed to watch the show? Would he dress up like Al, or?
Hey guys, I had a question about the character arc of your two characters. I was wondering if I could get a statement from you on each of them. It would seem to me that because of the nature of the show, the Sam character, since he kind of got reset at the beginning of each episode due to his Swiss cheese memory, he didn't seem to have the arc that the Al character had, who seemed to, from the beginning of the show to the end of the run, had extreme change in the way he perceived everything, and even some of his biases and prejudices on everything. And I was wondering, if we look at it that way, was the show Quantum Leap less about saving Sam, but saving Al, because he was the dynamic character?
That's interesting. That's an interesting question. I never thought of it that way. I thought it was about saving people each episode that needed to get brought to a truthful moment by him.
Yeah, but you guided me through a lot of the truth, to get through a lot of the truth moments, because my
Yeah, but I
character was so
mean,
naive.
I had the information right.
No, but you influence me. You tell me a story about your sister. You tell me stuff like that. Come on. You had a lot of stuff. He's a much better actor than I am, so his arc, I had an arc, but I just couldn't act it. I had to invent my own arc, which is not easy.
Stay away from arcs, man. They tend to sink. Next question.
Hi, over here. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. First, I want to thank you guys for teaching me how to play pool. And then I wanted to ask if you guys have played with the Ziggy app on the iPhone. Because they have an app and it makes all the noise when you hit it and stuff.
No, what? There's an app on the iPhone that makes all the Ziggy noises when you hit it.
It's a game.
It's an application.
Oh, there is?
Hitting. No, I haven't. Obviously, we haven't.
So somebody take an iPhone over and show them in the thing. Thank you.
Crazy. Okay, thanks. I'll check it out.
I think I left it.
Will you get an iPhone so I can check that out?
My wife does the iPhone. Okay.
Okay.
Hey guys, I just want to say thank you very much for the show. You did a wonderful job on the Quantum Leap program. Really enjoyed it many years.
Thank you.
Two things I just want to ask you. One, if Quantum Leap was still on the air, how would you like it to continue? And two, Dean, how did you enjoy playing the evil Dean in the episode, the evil Al, the devil?
Oh, I love that one. That was a fun one, yeah. Wasn't that a Halloween? Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that. I love doing that, yeah.
Stephen King.
Nice departure there. What was the other question?
If Quantum Leap was still in the air, how would you like it to have continued?
Well, this kind of goes back to my arcing question that I didn't really answer, but I had it in my mind that the more Sam leaped, that as we went on, the more that he was starting to, you know, I'm a sci-fi geek, so you have to bear with me for a second. I figured that the more he started mixing molecules, that eventually he would start taking on some of the more characteristics and personality traits of the bodies, the folks that he was switching around with. So I was heading toward, you know, schizophrenia, basically. And I thought that that would be an interesting place for the show to go. So that there would be come a time when they would have to literally, potentially lose Sam, because he would just keep disappearing more and more into each character. So that was my own little story, and but it was working for me. So we were doing Oswald and some things like that. If you look back at the last year especially, you'll see that I was taking on more and more of those kinds of things. So that's where I was going, but I don't know where Don would have kept it going if, I mean, the show was, the beauty of the show was it had endless possibilities. They wanted to do an animated episode. They wanted to do me in a crib. They wanted, I mean, they had all these great ideas of doing more and more stuff. And obviously, the more, as technology got better, I laugh so much how much things have changed. But I mean, we literally would, you know, the first AD would yell freeze, and everybody would. And then he would walk in, take a puff, and then the guy would say, unfreeze, and then we'd go back to the scene. Now, nobody has to do that anymore, but when I think about it, it was so lame. So if you go back and look at the first year, you'll see background in the background kind of going. I mean, it was, and you'd have a street full of people, and they'd say, freeze, and everybody would. And thank goodness things have changed and technology is better and you can run vampires around and fly them out in a heartbeat like that. So the technology would have changed, would have been really cool.
Right here?
Right here.
Oh, go.
Hey, like everybody else, I want to say thank you guys for doing the work you did. You were heroes to me at a time in my life when I really needed some.
Oh.
And my question is, I read not long ago a take on the last episode that because Sam changed Al's life to make sure that he stayed with Beth, that he was actually sacrificing his relationship because he could have changed everything and Al may never have gotten on the project. I just wondered if you guys thought that was a good take on it. Was that the intention or no?
I had, you know, you think about all the implications of that last episode in there, and they're kind of fun to explore. What really, if we come back, what would the next episode have been? You know, those kind of things. I think that it's a kind of a beautiful idea that Sam sacrificed himself for his best friend. You know, and I'm sure Don would have found a way to wriggle out of that. And get us back on the trail again, but it being the last episode of our journey on the show, I think it's poetic and kind of perfect.
Thank you.
Hi. Over here. So I wanted to say that to Dean that I really enjoyed seeing you play a different character in Bonsai Runner. But anyways, like
what?
Bonsai Runner?
Oh, that goes back.
Yeah. But my question, I guess people have touched on it before, but the end of the show was probably one of the most powerful moments in TV that I can think of. And I was wondering if y'all knew of any other possible alternate endings they were considering, or if y'all had any afterthoughts about like the direction that they almost went in but didn't.
You're talking Quantum Leap.
Yes.
No, I've got a lot of respect for Don Belisari. He created this wonderful, wonderful show and nurtured it and brought it through, and then that's his fruition. And I just respectfully left it totally up to him and just watched with fascination and appreciation and did my part of it. That's it.
I have to agree. You know, Don was. We never really. never really were at a point ever in the show, and you hear about it a lot more in this day and age. But I mean, Don was, you know, he is and was. He was like a dinosaur. He was like a king of television. There were like 5 guys like Don Belisario in the history of television, and that's a lot of years now, who basically, I mean, look at his track record. And he did what he wanted to do. And we were fortunate enough to be on this ride with him. And yeah, there were times I wished we could do something a little bit differently, but overall, it was,
we were both lucky.
Exactly.
To get in that show, no shit.
Yeah.
Really, really incredible.
We were. We were, and you know, and we were lucky, and this is kind of the gravy. You know, we're 20 years past the show premiering now, 22 years now, or whatever, and there's a passion and a belief, and the show affected people to this day. And I just don't know how you could ask for any more out of a television show. I really don't. And that's a tribute to the fans, to all of you who have perpetuated it and passed it on and shared it and believed in it. You know, because it's hard not to want to believe in this kind of an idea. So, you know, it's been this great partnership between Don and Dean and I and you all and everybody that worked on the show. That's just, it's been a gift. I'm still extremely grateful for it. So we thank all you guys. So,
this will be the last question.
I'm sorry. Okay, I love you guys.
It better be a good question. A lot of angry people behind you.
I love you guys together in Quantum Leap, and I love you both separately, both in Battlestar Galactica and in Enterprise.
Thank you.
But my question is, how was it when Dean actually came on Enterprise, and how was the opposite relationship that you had on that episode as opposed to Quantum Leap?
Do you remember calling me about that coming on Enterprise?
Did I call you about it?
Yeah.
What did I say?
How the hell do you do this stuff?
Yeah. No. I don't remember the call, but I remember the feeling and the thought, because the dialogue on that show didn't relate to anything in reality. And it's the only show I've ever done that was like that. And I have a really, really good memory for dialogue. And I had trouble memorizing this stuff because what does this mean? What does that mean? So I had difficulty with it. I was just appreciating working with Scotty here again. Yeah.
That was the best part, just having him on the set again and seeing the crew and everybody just. It was a great week having him around, and it was crazy. It was a crazy part and a crazy episode, but you know, as they often are. But he's not kidding. I mean, he was like photogenic. He'd show up at a rehearsal with a script in his hand, more in Quantum Leap days, and he'd be looking at it, and he'd have a lot of dialogue. We'd have 6-page scenes sometimes, and just the two of us talking, walking and talking. And he'd be reading, and I'm thinking, we're in trouble because he's never going to know this. And he'd just turn around and have it memorized, like reading it one time. He's like photogenic, and I hated him for that. Because I'd be in my trailer, I'd try to memorize.
On the Enterprise, I just lost it completely. You know, it's like a little baby. What is this?
It's hard. It was hard stuff. Plus, it was, you know, you couldn't improvise on in that world, the Star Trek world. You're given dialogue and you repeat it. So it wasn't like you could paraphrase. You had to be letter perfect. So, but he was awesome on it. He's just yes.
Okay, thank you very much, folks. We got to go over there.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.